Joy, 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 joy. I am full of joy, 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 joy. I am full of joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Is my strength. He takes good care of me. Yes, he supplies my every need. So how can I be incomplete when I know the greater one abides in me? So I choose to be happy.
Hello and welcome to Perspective! Yay! Yes, we are back again for season 2. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes.
Did you miss me?
Okay, well, I've been seeing you. We live in the same city.
I guess.
Well, I know you missed me, though.
Definitely.
I mean, we've been across the world.
We have. I mean, it's great to come back to California. We definitely missed you, Natasha, as well.
Too.
It's been exciting. Honestly, we had so much fun in season 1. Season 1 was just full of so much life, like the topics that we took, the various different issues that were addressed, and the feedback that we've received has just been phenomenal.
Speaking of feedback, I was actually going to read one of the messages I got. Let me just read it. And it says, this message is to thank you for the program Perspective on LoveWorld USA. I was watching the episode with David Hernandez. It was so beautiful and truly impactful, and I look forward to getting the youth and teens in our churches in India to watch it. I'm deeply touched by that. Thank you once again.
Nice. I just realised something. We didn't actually introduce ourselves. I know we're really excited, but I'm Stacey. This is the beautiful Natasha, Sharon, and Diana. Hello. And we're back again with Perspective. So yeah, Sharon, that testimony was so lovely. I received some nice feedback as well. But what was your favourite episode in season 1?
I mean, it's hard to pick one. I think the most impactful one that I got responses from you guys was the depression episode. So many of you guys wrote us, sending your prayer requests, your testimonies, and just how that show really just blessed your life, and hearing me and Diana's testimony of just coming out of depression and being in that pit, and just how God just used it to even bring you out of your own. So I am so grateful that we're back again and that you're giving us a second chance to just share more of God with you, and I'm excited.
Definitely. I think, honestly, like, hearing the feedback from everybody has really given us that encouragement and excitement to continue with the work that we're doing, because many people have literally received so much. I remember, you got a message from somebody in India. Like, that's just, wow. Like, and I know somebody from
Switzerland, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's Switzerland, America. There's so many places that I've gotten messages from.
London.
Yes, around the world. And what's really awesome is they're learning too. Our viewers are learning. I'm learning. I mean, I watch our episodes, and The Power of Words with Pastor Jimmy, I was listening to his testimony about the vision, and I literally was just like, wow, wait, faith works like that. Faith comes by hearing. So it's like, even us who were on the set are learning. Like, I can only imagine the impact on our viewers from around the world, as we said.
And we have so much in store for season 2.
Definitely. I mean, me and Sharon came all the way. We travelled like over 10 hours just to get
long,
here.
But we've been excited. She's been waiting for the French toast since before we got here.
Gosh.
Yeah, I love my French toast.
Yeah, except you ordered fish and mashed potatoes when you got here. Not fish and chips, fish and mashed potatoes.
Okay, you don't have to like be airing everything out on the table. I know it's perspective, but I don't need to hear your perspective about that. But yeah, I'm really excited. Season 2, we've really taken a different turn. We're going to focus on identity in this season. And from focusing on identity, we're going to look at various different topics. And that brings us to our first topic, image. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Who do you see when you look in the mirror? That's a question just to think about for a moment. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll be discussing more about that.
Joy, 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 joy. I am full of joy.
His will for your life is better than anything you could imagine for yourself, better than anything you could ever even picture. And where we're told dream big because God can fulfill that.
Put the word of God inside you. It will literally create a force field around you that all those people that shouldn't even be coming anywhere near you, they will literally just be bouncing. They won't even be able to get anywhere near you because they're like, I can't go there.
I read where faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, Romans 10:17. And then I read where it talks about in Corinthians that we believe and therefore we speak. I said, Lord, I don't fully understand what this means, but I thank you in advance for showing me. Thank you for showing me the revelation, even though I had no idea at that time. I know Jesus is going to teach me himself.
The devil is very smart. And if you are not smart enough to know who you are in God and stay grounded in the Word, daily renewing your mind, like we were talking about yesterday, and completely replacing those negative thoughts with what God says about you, then eventually you will become somebody that you hate. And that is not who God called you to be, because you have a purpose and you have a destiny and you're called for greatness. So every lie of the enemy, you know where it belongs, and it goes right back to that pit where it came from.
People just feel like, oh, let me just enjoy my youth right now, and at some point I'll, go back to church. But of course, Ecclesiastes tells us, 11 and 12 tells us, as much as it's fun and good to be young, don't forget God, your maker in heaven. It's so important for us to remember that, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
The gospel is not about accomplishing your dreams. It's about accomplishing His will. It's not about self-help. It's about self-abandonment. We need to die to ourselves and live to His will.
Our heart is to see this generation saved, set free, and to find their identity through the Word of God.
Welcome back to Perspective. Yes, we just went on a quick break, and now that we're back, I'm sure you can see that a new person has been added to the table. So it's not just ladies, we have a nice male. Hi, Gabriel.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on the set.
Thank you for being here. So who are you, Gabriel, for those that may not actually know you?
Well, I'm Gabriel, and I don't know, I work with a lot of young people. I've dealt with a lot of young people, youth camps. I actually work in the IT and, media world. So I've done a lot of trainings with young people.
Thank you so much. Okay, so like I said before we went on the break, we're going to be talking about, well, this season really is about identity. And for this first episode, we're going to be looking at image. Now, today in society, a lot of things that are going on. In the first season, we spoke about media, but we're going to look at how social media is framing people's mind when it comes to image. There's so many things that we can look at. Body image different things. And I think body image is one of the main things. But I know, Sharon, we were talking a few moments ago, you were sharing something. Do you want to just...
Gosh, well, I wasn't the most insecure person sort of growing up, but at some stage, I was just like, why am I so flat-chested?
Oh, my God.
Why? Because, everybody around us seemed to have just grown into themselves, and it was just like, okay, it's not happening. But, I got over it. But I would say, social media has a big part to play now, You just end up comparing yourself to, what you think is meant to be beautiful.
Oh,
you see all these pretty girls. I don't know if it's probably the same
Yeah,
for you,
I didn't have to deal with the
but...
flat-chested thing.
Yeah. So... I don't know, it does affect a lot of people.
Can I just say to you young people, I think it's really important, it doesn't matter how old or young you are, to be comfortable in your own skin through every season of life. Just learn to be content. Some things are out of your control, and other things you might have a little more control over.
Oh, wow.
I was always a very curvaceous young person, and it did not matter if I was a size 4, 124 pounds, or if I was a size 12 after having 2 kids. My body is my body. Now, when you're in elementary school and middle school, though, I was quite the complete opposite of Sharon.
At you, look at you.
Yeah. And I had to learn to, adapt very differently in my own skin. And I am in not any way condoning or not condoning this, but for me personally, when I was 16, I had to get a little bit of surgery done, and I'm not ashamed to say that because it was for health reasons and things like that, and I have no regrets for doing it. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I didn't hate myself for the way I looked before, so don't think that I'm saying that at all. Like I said, I think it's very important to love yourself through every season of your life. Take care of yourself, be healthy. But if there's certain things like awkward stages that some of you are going through right now, don't beat yourself up over it. Just love yourself, because if you're confident in who you are and who God's called you to be, I promise you the world's going to see the same view you see, and not probably the flaws that you think you're seeing.
But why do you think people get affected by these things? Is it what they see online, or?
There's so many things. Peer pressure is huge. I don't know. I have so many examples that I could talk about. As growing up as a young male, we had to deal with things like, being cool. Guys always want to be cool. there's
Muscles?
Yeah, muscles. You know, I don't think I have any that area, but you know, yeah, swag. But yeah, no, we had like shoes and clothes were really huge. Just okay, if you didn't have this pair of Jordans, then you just weren't as cool as the next guy that had them. I remember one year in elementary school. There was a $150 pair of shoes that I wanted so bad. They were Vince Carter's. I will never forget it. I did everything to make my mom get those shoes. And, you know, once I got them, I just thought I was so cool. But guess what? Next month, there was a new shoe out, and I was no longer as cool. So, you know, it was just that kind of thing. You have to keep up with what other people are doing, you know?
Definitely. I think, you know, when it comes to guys, like, I think more like imagery in terms of like what you're wearing and how cool you are, like you made reference to. But for women, it's different. I think there is that element of, you know, how you look and how you dress and having the latest things, your bags and all of that. But then the body image, I think, is like the main issue. That's something that I, you know, growing up, I suffered with that, you know. I wasn't really confident about how my body was, and I wasn't really...
Details.
No, I just felt that was very slim. Like, you know, my legs were very skinny.
Really? Okay,
Yes,
you know what?
really.
Look.
You had the same issue.
Same thing.
Thank you.
Skinny legs. Oh my God.
But I've grown into them now, and I love them. Like, I'm happy. It's so, do you know, it's so funny because when you're growing up, there's certain things that you don't like, and then you get a bit older, and people are like, wow, I love your legs. Like, you have nice legs. You look like a model kind of thing, and
I always get
You
this.
do,
Okay,
Stacey.
well, the skinny leg thing is all you guys, because I did not grow up with skinny legs. I was more like wonderful Natasha, very curvaceous.
And proud.
So, okay, I grew up with the whole, my legs are not skinny enough. And it was a big effect because, you know, I had to get to the point of, like, even... I put myself down so much that I didn't like anything. So even if my friends were like, oh my gosh, I love your hair, I'd be like, really? Like, why? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like everything, you compare yourself to other people, and that's what makes you think that you don't like yourself. But really, like, when you grow into yourself, it's so much better. I mean, I'm sure that, your luscious locks probably didn't matter as much to you, Gabriel.
At all.
But even hair is like a big thing for girls too, like how you style it. Like I think you were talking earlier, Stacey, about like for some people going natural or straightening their hair. Like sometimes it's a big deal.
yeah, like, you know, for, let's say, a black woman or a black girl that has natural hair, i.e. your hair is not straight like this, it's bushy, like naturally bushy. It's only now that people are sort of like getting into that I'm going natural kind of thing, or all natural, or my natural hair journey. But before, it was like, you shouldn't have those pepper grains, as some people call it.
Pepper grains. Oh my God.
Straight in their hair. They want to make it straight and nice. And for some people, it was almost like maybe you're not happy about yourself if your hair isn't, you know, straight like everybody else's. So you had, you know, a lot of people getting weave done, and it's almost like people looking at them like, okay, why are they not, you know, showing their natural hair?
I mean, that's so interesting though, because what actually controls that? Because
Media, they are like playing a massive part. Like,
Huge.
when I think about the idea of, you know, people changing their whole skin color, that's a massive thing. You know, you have, you know, Diana, you were sharing the fact that your mum, you know, wants to be more tanned, or like she likes to tan or something.
Yeah, like she's not the only one. I'm sure that you guys have seen orange-looking people. That's because they want a tan and they don't have one. So for some, like, people literally like feel like they have to have a tan. Even though my mom looks beautiful with her natural colored skin, she was used to growing up at the beach, so she got accustomed to having a tan, and so she likes a tan. But that doesn't make her less beautiful without one. But you know, it's the same kind of mindset. Like, people literally will go out and fry their skin and give themselves skin cancer to look darker if they go out every day. But the thing is, they look beautiful. Even a dermatologist told her, like, it's healthier for you to be paler because you're not hurting your skin.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even realize what you're doing to your skin. You could be destroying a lot of natural things that are there to help protect your skin. Definitely. You know, I don't know. I've experienced, well, not myself. I love my skin, but I know some people that are really dark. And at the time, like I said, in elementary school or middle school, a lot of people would say, oh, you're just really black, you know? And so it was a big deal. It was a big deal. But now,
Yeah, I remember
that has changed. You look at people now and they're like, oh, black is really, really beautiful. Or your skin is really dark. You know, I
Black
like
don't
it.
crack.
Yeah, black don't crack. You know? So it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of these things are controlled by the media.
Yeah.
And what you see out there, where you see somebody that, their skin is pale and then they want to tan to become darker, then you see somebody on the other side, their skin is dark, they want to bleach to become lighter. It's like, okay, so what is everybody following out there? It's almost like, okay, somebody puts an image out there, someone puts a picture out there, and then there's a certain, group of people that want to conform to that and another. It's just confusing to society as a whole.
Well,
and
who's to say what beautiful is anyways?
Yeah.
Well, it changes over the years, just like you were saying. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
I saw
like
this
that.
article. They were showing like hairstyles and like weird old things that people used to do for fashion. One of them, they literally used to shave their hairlines back. Literally. They would shave, the females would shave their hairlines back. Like, why do you want a bigger forehead? What does that even do? So it's like these fashion trends
You know
just
what?
change over time.
No, I'm laughing. I'm just imagining you with your hair like shaved back.
Please don't. Please don't.
So weird. I don't know.
Well, now you've got, even 12, 13, 14, like, wanting to completely look like they're like 40, or you've got like 19-year-olds wanting to do Botox.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm almost 34 in a couple weeks. I have never had Botox. At 19, how bad is your skin that you don't have a wrinkle?
Yeah.
You're beautiful. Like, your skin is perfectly tight. What would make you feel like you need to go get Botox in your face as a teenager?
I think, what, it really does boil down to what they are like allowing to influence them, because social media, like so many people try to follow, I'll just use maybe somebody like Kim Kardashian. So many people will look at her and say that, oh, she's beautiful. They'll try to look like her. If they don't feel that they look like that person, they're not beautiful.
But she's also in her mid-30s and has had kids.
You're right.
She's not a teenager.
You're right, but that doesn't matter to them, They think that, oh, this is just what I see, this is what I want to be, and
This is what I'm supposed to do no matter
they try
And
it.
I think a lot of it is like, they want to physically look like that person, but then at the same time, they want what the person has in terms of
Yeah.
the style.
Likes also.
Have you guys seen that show where they actually did surgery to look like celebrities? Like, they
I heard
purposely
about
got
that.
plastic surgery to look like
I've seen
celebrities.
I saw the one about
That's
the
a
guy who
thing?
wants to look like a Ken doll.
Oh, I saw that
show,
one.
but like it was quite. But the thing that really gets me is he doesn't look like the Ken doll.
So that was a failed operation.
But that's the thing is they, like you were saying, they tried to reach the standard that they're seeing, and they're not even getting there. So like, why are you trying to be something else instead of being the best you?
Exactly.
But what happens when they have that thing? Like you said, I think you mentioned it earlier, when you actually go through that process and then you don't get the outcome that you were expecting, then are you going to be happy with yourself?
Like, are you going to
what?
go back? Like, you can't go back from something
Sometimes
like
you
that.
can't go back,
But then I think
It's
it's
like
just
the
one.
sex changes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's one of those things, like, maybe like where you are at a point in your life, you're not necessarily going to be happy with how you are. Like, obviously, Sharon, you said before that when you were younger, you weren't happy about certain things. So how is it that you were able to, like, push through that, like, now that you're much older?
Personally, I got over it because I realized that there are more important things. When you get so caught up on those things, you become unhappy, and I made a decision I'm not going to be unhappy based on that for a lifetime. You just have to focus on the things that are way more important.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter so much. Like how you look, things that you can't change that aren't in your control. It makes more sense to change like your character, be someone that's more desirable. You can look really beautiful on the outside, but inside it's just shambles.
Goodness.
Yeah, if you have an
That's
ugly
really true.
spirit, that's hard to change. You
Yeah.
can always change your appearance or your weight, things like that, but your spirit is something that
But
Exactly.
there's something, like, even in terms of your looks, like, for me personally, I just want to be healthy. Like, I'm not going to look at the size on the jeans. I'm not going to look at the number on the scale and be like, oh, here we go. Here's my goal. I just want to be healthy. And, working towards that kind of goal is not a bad thing to do. But it's not like you said, it's not about, oh, I have to look good for somebody. But the thing that helped me get over it, because, clearly there are cameras in my face now. And I used to run from them like my dear sister Stacy. What made me get over it was like, it's not about me like that, whatever I'm doing, I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And people are not going to be like, oh, she's doing something great, but look at her. She is not small enough, so she's not doing something great. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So as long as I'm comfortable with myself and I'm healthy and I'm where I want to be, then why does it matter what somebody else sees?
Certainly.
Well, I got over my bowed legs. You know what I used to do? I would not wear shorts. I would not wear shorts to school. I wouldn't do it. Even if it was 100-degree weather, I would have my jeans on, going to school because I was really embarrassed. But I don't know, I got over it. I was like, you know what, I'll forget it. I'll go to the gym, lift weights, even though that didn't really help so much. I still have skinny legs today, but I've accepted it. And it's because it's a part of me. There's only me that have these type of legs because they belong to me. They're not on somebody else's body. So I used to get called all kind of names, chicken legs, this, that, but forget it, doesn't matter.
Well, you said something important too. I mean, our body is the temple, and that's a requirement, is to take care of yourself. You should be healthy if you want to have longevity and you want to live a good, healthy life. You have to take care of yourself. But I think there's a difference from trying to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. When you look in the mirror, you shouldn't be, I think it's natural to criticize yourself and see all the flaws in yourself instead of like, okay, one thing that you would have changed compared to all the other things that you love about yourself. Why is it always the negative things that we focus on and not like, wow, you know what? I have beautiful eyes, or I have beautiful hair. I have a great personality. Why is it always the negative that people focus on? And that's the only thing that's like magnified.
That actually reminds me of something I read one time. Like somebody gave a scenario, and I know we're talking about body image, but it does correlate. They had like a math teacher, right? And they put 5 questions and answers on the board, and only one was wrong. So then he showed the class, and then somebody was like, excuse me, 2 + 2 does not equal 6. And the professor was like, oh, okay. He said, what about the other 4 that are correct? And they just were like, well, yeah, that's right. And he said, okay, so why'd you focus on the one that was wrong instead of the 4 that were right? And and it was just to show the way that we, as a society, tend to go towards. You gravitate to one little negative thing happens, or you see one little flaw as you think it is on your body. Now you gravitate towards that instead of being like, wow, you know what? All of me is just beautiful, and maybe this I would tweak, but what about the rest of me?
Definitely. And I think, the world will be a boring place if everybody looked like Kim Kardashian. I think when you see the fact that everybody's different, it just goes to show the diversity and the beauty of God, that he can create so many people with different features, different colors, different hair textures, whether you're tall or you're short, whatever it is. And it's important to, embrace who you are as an individual. You made a very good point. Like, why is it that, you want to focus on the negative thing about yourself? It's important, like, you have a whole body. Like, look at the positive things. It's not just the negative things that you should point out. And even when you're pointing out, oh, I don't like my nose, or I don't like my eyes, on what standard are you basing that on? You need to ask yourself that question, because the perception of beauty or what is acceptable in society is constantly changing. Tomorrow it might be, acceptable to have long hair and fairer skin, and then 5 years from now, everybody wants to be dark-skinned with bushy hair. How are you going to change your appearance then? So it's important to be content with who you are as an individual, definitely, so that you don't find yourself being swayed left, right, and centre. 1 minute you're light, the next minute you're dark, and then you're dark, and then you're light, and it just doesn't work.
And like Natasha said, what's the definition of beauty? What is the definition of being attractive? I mean, you said it earlier, we have lighter skinned people trying to get darker and darker trying to get lighter at the same time. So clearly there is not the same exact picture that they're going for, because they're going in opposite directions. So that means that whatever they're going for that they think is beautiful, it's a completely different definition. So you can't say that there's one way to say it.
As we're talking about this, I'm just kind of thinking, like, what is it that makes someone look at something and then say that they want to follow that image.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, you know, there you go. That's it right there.
Look, this book right here.
There you go.
The Power of Your Mind. You need this book. Like, it will tell you why you think the way you do.
Exactly.
The certain thought processes that are going through your mind. This book
Yeah.
is The Power of Your Mind by Pastor Chris Oyakilome. Honestly, it will really help you, like, break down in your mind what exactly it is that you're doing when you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, actually, I don't like the way I look, or you're trying to compare yourself to this person or that person. A lot of it is self-inflicted, and it's important that you use your mind in the right way to accept you as an individual. But, you know, we're getting, I mean, like, we can talk about image for a long time, but we're getting closer towards the end of this segment. We're still going to have part 2, definitely, because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to image. But I have a question for you, Gabriel, seeing as you're our guest. Who do you see when you look in the mirror?
Oh, wow. Who do I see? I could get really deep with that.
Get deep. Well,
Should I go there?
Kind of.
Are
but
they
not,
ready for that?
Kind of, but not really, because we're going to be picking it up in part 2. But just scratch the surface just a little bit.
Okay, just a little. I mean, when I look at myself, I don't see somebody who's weak. You know, as much as I want to make joke about the bowed legs and all those kind of things. Those are not things that have affected me. You know, have broken me down to say that, oh, I don't look good. You know, I have a different perception. When I look at myself, I see myself through a different kind of lens. You know, I don't see what somebody else may look at me and see is not what I'm going to see. So, and how did I get that? It comes from the Word of God, to be straight. That's where it comes from. Because if you decide to look at what, I mean, there's how many people we're 5 people at the table right now. Everybody will have a perception of who I am. I know everybody's gonna say I'm cool. I know, because I'm cool.
Sure?
Yeah,
so,
you're just
well,
so
I would hope
awesome.
so. But you know, but everybody will have a different perception of what they think of me. So, but what does the Word of God say? What should I actually accept? Just like you were saying, how will my mind process those things? You know, so when I look at myself, I see somebody who's confident, somebody who's bold. You know, somebody who doesn't have fear. I don't have fear. I don't have any reason to fear anything.
That's right. You say you don't have fear.
That's
There's
right.
no reason.
Fear. So, you know, and that's just like we said. I just scratched the surface just a little bit.
Literally just scratch the surface. I think, you know, everybody made some very, like, significant and valid points. And in part 2 of image that we're going to be discussing, we're going to be delving deeper, because image goes beyond what you look like in the physical. There's a spiritual aspect about that, and we're going to help you understand, you know, how you can have the right image of yourself with the right material and the right information. So the question that I asked Gabriel, you need to ask that question to yourself. Who do you see when you look in the mirror? Because, I mean, if you're not happy being yourself, why do you think that you'll be happy being somebody else? And a lot of the times, people are trying to change who they are to be somebody else, but they're not even happy in the skin that they're in. And it's important. And, you know, when, you know, looking at the image or the different things that society pushes out there for you to see, at best, you will be the second best of the person that you're trying to be, because you're not going to be the original. Why wouldn't you want to be the original? You know, God created every single person as individuals beautifully. You know, we're fearfully and wonderfully made, just as the Bible tells us. And if you can embrace that truth, then the image and the perception that you will have of yourself will be one that is great, and nobody can take that away from you. So it's important to know that. But we're going to be, you know, we're going to give you a new mirror. I'll put it that way. We're going to give you a new mirror to look into. So make sure that you stay tuned to Perspective, because we're going to be coming back with part 2 of image under the topic of identity, so that you can know who you are, you know, in Christ. But guys, it's been great. I've really enjoyed this episode. It's been wonderful, and it's been so insightful hearing from all of you, and I'm sure many people have been blessed. But we're going to be saying goodbye, guys, and make sure you tune into the next part. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Bye.